House will come to order. Members, please take your seats. Head page.
The House is now in session. All persons not entitled to privileges of the floor, please retire to the gallery.
The members will rise and be led in prayer by Pastor Josh Kelly, Wave Church, Virginia Beach, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which will be led by the delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring.
Good morning. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for who you are today. Thank you for our nation that we get to call home. Thank you for this state of Virginia you've called us to serve. God, I pray today we take a moment to pause and think about why we're in this room, why we showed up today, because there is good work to do. I pray each mind in this room that you created with excellence. I pray that we use them strategically and effectively today. I thank you for the different people, different stories in this room. Each beating heart brings value and unique perspective to further life, liberty, and justice beyond these walls. And while we are not ignorant to the chaos and evil taking place in our world, I thank you that there is hope today. We stand on hope to bring about change, not based on personal gain or preference, but in truth for the benefit of every human life. God, we ask for your wisdom today. We need it. We ask for your strength. We need it. We ask for your love that sees past the superficial and into the human heart. We need it. We ask for your righteousness. We need it. We ask for your creativity today. We need it. And I ask for your unity. May Virginia be the state that could show the rest of our nation what is possible when we lead in love, truth, and grace, producing real justice. And God, I pray for every leader that's in this room today. I pray for their spouses, those who are sick, that you'd heal them. I pray for the families and children today for your protection. And God, I pray for anyone who walked in today's room filled with anxiousness, filled with anxiety. I thank you for your peace. May we experience it today. We need it. I pray all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. The members will answer the roll call by entering their presence on the electronic voting board. Clerk will close the roll.
Mr. Speaker, a quorum is present.
Pursuant to House Rule 3, I have examined and approved the Journal of the House of Delegates for March 3rd, 2026. Motions of resolutions under Rule 39 pursuant to the provisions of Rule 40 are now in order. Does the clerk have any announcements or communications?
Communications from the Senate. Mr. Speaker, the Senate has insisted on its amendments and requested committees of conference on the following legislation. House Bill 77.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House accede to the request of the Senate for committees of conference on the previously reported legislation.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring moves that the House accede to the request from the Senate for committees of conference. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The motion is agreed.
The Senate has also rejected the House amendments to the following legislation. Senate Bills 270, 288, 313, 516, 524, and 609.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House insists on its amendments and request committees of conference on the previously reported legislation.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring moves that the House insist on committees of conference and request committees of insist on this legislation and request committees of conference for the previously announced legislation. Those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, appoints on behalf of the House a number of conferees for the following legislation. For House Bill 6, by way of reminder, the first person named is the chief patron who needs to drive the train. The Committee of Conference for House Bill 6, conferees are Delegates Price, Cole of Spotsylvania, and Bloxham. House Bill 6, Delegates Price, Cole of Spotsylvania, and Bloxham. For House Bill 125, the Speaker appoints on behalf of the House conferees Delegates Reeser, McAuliffe, and Tata. HB 125, Delegates Reeser, McAuliffe, and Tata. For House Bill 276, the Speaker appoints on behalf of the House for conferees Delegates Sullivan, Hope, and Kilgore. HB 276, Delegates Sullivan, Hope, and Kilgore. For House Bill 396, the Speaker appoints on behalf of the House Delegates Krizik, Cole of Fredericksburg, and Moorfield. HB 396, Delegates Krizik, Cole of Fredericksburg, and Moorfield. For House Bill 584, the Speaker appoints on behalf of the House's conferees Delegates Rasul, Franklin of Montgomery, and Ballard. House Bill 584, Delegates Rasul, Franklin, Montgomery, and Ballard. For House Bill 705, the Speaker appoints on behalf of the House Delegates Hayes, Simons, and Kilgore. HB 705, Delegates Hayes, Simons, and Kilgore. For House Bill 1278, the Speaker appoints Delegates Reeser, Cohen, and Tata. HB 1278, Delegates Reeser, Cohen, and Tata. For Senate Bill 28, the Speaker appoints as conferees Delegates Henson, LaVere Bowling, and Weber. For SB 28, Delegates Henson, LaVere Bowling, and Weber. For Senate Bill 596, the Speaker appoints Delegates Price, Cole of Spotsylvania, and Bloxham. SB 596, Delegates Price, Cole of Spotsylvania, and Bloxham. For Senate Bill 692, Speaker appoints Delegates Rasul, Franklin of Montgomery, and Ballard. SB 692, Delegates Rasul, Franklin of Montgomery, and Ballard. For Senate Bill 765, the last one, Delegates Krizik, Cole of Fredericksburg, and Moorfield. Those will be in the calendar tomorrow. The list is up here if you need them. They'll be available online momentarily as well. So those are all the announcements I have at this point. Therefore, pursuant to House Rule 40, the Speaker requests that you use your Request to Speak button for the agenda items listed for reference up on the voting board.
Delegate from Virginia Beach, Delegate Tata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for an introduction.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I'm honored to introduce Pastor Josh Kelly, who gave today's moving invocation. Pastor Kelly serves as a campus pastor at Wave Church in Virginia Beach. He has been on the pastoral team for 17 years, serving in many roles from youth and young adult pastors to now overseeing the Great Neck campus. Pastor Kelly is passionate about building the church, preaching the gospel, and seeing the lost encounter Jesus Christ. He has been married for 12 years to his beautiful wife, Brooke, and together they have 3 wonderful children. Mr. Speaker, I hope it's the will of the body to join me in giving Pastor Josh Kelly a warm house welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol, and thank you for that much-needed prayer this morning. The delegate from Arlington, Delegate Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Lars, for an introduction.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased to welcome the American Forest and Paper Association and its members and ask if they please stand. AF&PA is the National Trade Association representing pulp, paper, and packaging manufacturers. This vital industry has been part of Virginia's history from the first imported printing press in the 1600s to the rise of the pulp and paper mills in the 1800s to the invention of the paper plate in 1969. Today, the forest products industry provides good jobs, employing more than 26,000 hardworking Virginians across the Commonwealth, and supports rural communities and provides essential products Virginians rely on. Please join me in recognizing their profound impact on Virginia, on jobs and economic development, and give them a warm house welcome.
Welcome, welcome to the Capitol today. Delegate from Hanover, Delegate Fowler.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for the purpose of an announcement.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, would you please join Betsy Carr and I for tomorrow morning's last Virginia Legislative Sportsman's Caucus meeting, which is tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. in the 7th floor North Subcommittee meeting room. Mr. Speaker, our special guest for the meeting is going to be Mr. Ed Peeney, Director of Public Policy for Ducks Unlimited. Mr. Peeney will be discussing the following. We have voluntary conservation easements on private property, how easements support waterfowl conservation and hunting opportunities, Ducks Unlimited role with easements in Virginia. This is a lot about easements, isn't it? And then what state legislators can do to support this important tool, Mr. Speaker. So appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you there. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The delegate from Loudoun County, Delegate Singh.
Mr. Speaker, I rise for introduction.
Delegate has the floor.
Could the Mede Upne Seniors Group please rise? Mr. Speaker, the Mede Upne Seniors Group is a group of seniors from the Hindu Durga Temple in Fairfax Station, Virginia, represented by Delegate Cohen. The group was started because of one word: loneliness. According to the National Institute of Health, 43% of adults aged 60 and older reported feeling lonely. Such isolation is associated with a 50% increase in developing dementia, along with increased risks of hospitalization, ER visits, heart disease, and stroke. So the seniors of the Durga Temple, led by Sapna Rodki, got together and decided to do something about it. This group helps with medical forms and transportation of medical appointments, but perhaps most importantly, the group has a ton of fun together. They have weekly events including yoga, dance classes, and singing classes. They also have large cultural programs and now have a membership that exceeds 500 people and includes people from different faiths. Not only that, Mr. Speaker, they take trips together, both domestically and internationally. You might say, Mr. Speaker, that Mede Upne is saving lives one cruise at a time. Further, Mr. Speaker, this group has adopted me, with many calling me their son. And it's no coincidence because my mom, Preeti Singh, is in the gallery today and is a member and one of the organizers. And when I go to events in the Indian American community, people will come up to me and say, "I know you." And I'll respond, "Yes, I serve in the General Assembly." To which they'll say, yeah, that's great, but you're Preeti Ji's son." Absolutely, Mr. Speaker. Let's please give the seniors of Mede Upne Group of Durga Temple a warm house welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol today. The delegate from Buckingham, Delegate Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am informed that there are joining us in the gallery today members and leadership from Cub Scout Den 6535, if they might rise. Mr. Speaker, this visit to the General Assembly by members and leadership from Cub Scout Den 6535 began when a young man from that den said to a den leader, "Have you ever been to the General Assembly?" And Mr. Speaker, the den leader said, "You know what, I'm embarrassed to tell you I haven't." And so they reached out to me, and it's my honor to welcome them here today from the geographical heart of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Please welcome members and leaders of Cub Scout Den 6535. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Welcome to the Capitol today. The delegate from Fredericksburg, Delegate Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning. I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Joining with us today in the gallery are leadership from Big Brothers Big Sisters of Greater Fredericksburg, and I would ask that they would please rise somewhere. There we go. Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Greater Fredericksburg is dedicated to helping young people realize their full potential through the power of mentorship. By connecting children and teens with caring adult mentors, the organization helps youth build confidence, succeed in school, and make positive life choices. Serving Fredericksburg and the surrounding counties, Big Brothers Big Sisters strengthens our community by empowering the next generation to thrive. And with us today is their executive director and chairwoman of the board. I'd hope it'd be the privilege of the body to give them a warm house welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol today. Delegate from Patrick County, Delegate Williams.
Mr. Speaker, I rise for an announcement.
The delegate has the floor.
We can get you one, Mr. Speaker.
Security.
Good people and lovers of liberty. Though I confess I question the devotion of some of you, I digress. On this 4th day of March in the year of our Lord 2026, I come before this august body, not to legislate, not to deliberate, but to invite. This very evening at the hour of 7, Americans for Prosperity, what a laudable name, shall host a gathering in celebration of our nation's 250th anniversary at 1108 East Main Street, room 310, right here in Richmond. I know what you're thinking. The gentleman from Patrick County has finally lost his mind. And to that, Mr. Speaker, I would say, I have not lost my mind. I have simply powdered it. So come at 7 o'clock. Bring a friend, bring an enemy. There's plenty of those down the hall. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That will be a heck of a TikTok soon. The delegate from Chesterfield, Delegate Doherty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for an introduction.
The delegate has the floor.
Can our guests from CCDC please rise? The Chesterfield County Democratic Committee is a wonderful part of our community. Its members value their county, their commonwealth, and their country. CCDC's members have spent time adopting highways, serving those in need, and advocating for the preservation of democracy. CCDC holds events that highlight the value of people from all walks of life, and it's an organization that understands that it takes everyone with all of their unique talents that they make a difference for a better tomorrow. The members of this committee work hard with a focus on creating a better future for everybody. The Chesterfield County Democratic Committee has seen its meeting attendance over the years go from less than a dozen people to hundreds of people at a single meeting, showing the value that they bring. The members of this committee care about the entire county and have time and time again stepped up to the plate when they were needed. Mr. Speakers, members of the House, please join me in giving them a warm House welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol today. Delegate from Shenandoah, Delegate Pence.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for an introduction.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sorry for no wig. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to introduce members of the Shenandoah County School Board who are visiting the Capitol today. Mr. Speaker, we all represent school boards all across the Commonwealth, and we all know what a difficult job it is. If you think dealing with people's money like we do is difficult, you ought to try dealing with their kids. Thank goodness there are people willing to serve, and all over the state we have those people. So please join me in welcoming them to the Capitol today.
Welcome to the Capitol today. Delegate from Chesterfield, Delegate Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for an introduction.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the gallery with us today, we have the Manchester Middle School cheerleaders, along with the principal, advisors, the Chesterfield County Superintendent of Schools, and the Chesterfield County School Board. Would they please stand? They have an amazing story. Allow me to tell you a part of it. We are honored to recognize them for their remarkable growth, resilience, and commitment to excellence both on and off the mat. This marks the first year in which Chesterfield Manchester School cheerleaders have placed in the county middle school cheer competition since 2003. What makes this recognition especially meaningful is not only their competitive success, but the journey they took to get here. Over the past 3 seasons, these coaches and their athletes have transformed a developing program into one defined by perseverance, sisterhood, pride in their school and community. Through countless hours of practice, creative problem solving, and unwavering dedication, the team overcame significant barriers. They shared limited practice spaces, advocated for equitable recognition of middle school athletes at Manchester Middle, and worked alongside their athletic director, coaches, and school leaderships to ensure cheerleading was valued alongside other sports. The students and coaches led fundraising efforts while the principals secured grant funds to address inequities in access to resources such as uniforms, POMs, and specialized training opportunities that many programs take for granted. Their story is also one of innovation and cultural pride. Students on other cheer teams within the school division compete in all-star cheer on a national scale and have for their entire lives, but not these girls. Manchester students without this level of training choreographed routines themselves in their first season, created their own music, and adapted when medical challenges required changes to their roster. This season, the division committee created, with the assistance of the associate principal, adjusted the county cheer competition to create a more equitable experience by introducing intermediate and advanced divisions. As such, this team finally won second place in the new intermediate division out of 7 teams. Their success demonstrates what is possible when opportunity meets determination. More than trophies or placement, these cheerleaders represent the spirit of Manchester Middle. Students who lead with heart, support one another as sisters, rise to the challenges with courage and resilience. They also demonstrate the core values of Chesterfield County Public Schools: equity, integrity, teamwork, ingenuity. Today's recognition celebrates not just the team, but the story of advocacy on behalf of all. I ask that the House give them a warm House welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol today. The delegate from Henrico, Delegate McQuinn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise for a motion.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House would take up out of order, H.R. 234 on page 71. And Mr. Speaker, after the adoption of the resolution, I request to speak to the motion.
Clerk will read the resolution.
House Resolution 234, celebrating the life of Emmett M. Burke, Jr.
Delegate from Henrico, Delegate McQuinn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Emmett M. Burke, Jr., affectionately known by many of us as Spike, was a proud graduate in the Richmond area of Armstrong High School, where he earned a reputation as an exceptional athlete. But those who knew him understood with what truly set him apart was not simply his talent. It was his discipline, his character, and his determination. Those qualities really defined his life. After school, he continued to his education at Virginia State University, known as Virginia State College at the time, and before being drafted into the United States Army. He rose to the rank of sergeant and served his country honorably. His military service reflected the leadership, responsibility, and quiet strength that will remain the hallmark of his character. Spike Burton never met a stranger. And so following his honorable discharge, Mr. Burke built a distinguished career in retail management, serving as the operation manager for Tall Hammers and later with Carter Hawley Hale. In time, he embraced his entrepreneur spirit and found Burke's Painting, leading the business with pride and dedication until his passing. He understood the value of his hard work, self-reliance, and excellence, and he lived those values every day. Very few businesses and homes, for that matter, in the RV area benefited from, so many have benefited from Spike's Burke professional work. So today, I want to extend our condolences to his devoted wife for 43 years, Cheryl Lewis Burke, who is with the Richmond School Board member, and to his children and to his grandkids. And so, Mr. Speaker, I hope that it will be the will of the body to pass this resolution in his honor, and that as we adjourn today, that we do it in the memory and the honor of Emmett Spike Burke, Jr. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The delegate from Henrico moves the adoption of House Resolution 234, celebrating the life of Emmett M. Burke, Jr., and that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns in the honor of Emmett M. Burke, Jr. All those in favor of the motion shall rise. The motion is agreed to. The delegate from Albemarle, Delegate Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for an introduction.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, in the gallery today, we have representatives from the Council of State Government's Southern Office. I ask them to please rise at this time. CSG South is a nonprofit, nonpartisan member organization that serves 15 southern states. They provide policy research, leadership development, staff training, and educational events. I was able to attend one this year where I was able to learn about agrivoltaics from experts in the field, learn about carbon sink industries that can serve our southern states, and taste biochar. Don't know about that one. And I also got to feed some cows, although that was not officially sanctioned. I did it all with Democrats and Republicans from legislators from across the South, and I carried that knowledge back with me to Virginia when I was working on legislation this year. They are having their annual conference July 11th to 15th in Lexington, Kentucky this year, and they would love to see you there. And with that, I will ask that the members join me in extending them a warm house welcome.
Welcome, welcome to the Capitol. Delegate from Suffolk, Delegate Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for introduction.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today in the gallery, we have members and the founder of Suff.Impact, and I ask that they please rise. Suff.Impact is an organization in Suffolk that transforms the lives of at-risk youth by providing intervention and prevention programs designed to reduce gun violence. They inspire hope and resilience in our community, and as we seek to end the scourge of gun violence that has taken countless lives in the 84th District and here in our Commonwealth. I'm honored to have them here today in the gallery, and I hope that it will be the will of the body to give them a warm house welcome.
Delegate from Richmond City, Delegate Cousins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a motion.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House take up out of order HJ 225 on page 70 of today's calendar.
Clerk will report a resolution.
House Resolution 225, commending We Off the Couch.
The delegate from Richmond City, Delegate Cousins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move adoption of the resolution, and I request to speak to that motion.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. HJ 225 recognizes the efforts and contributions of We Off the Couch. We have members from the organization here with us in the gallery today. I ask that they please rise. We Off the Couch is a Richmond-based nonprofit community organization dedicated to advancing health equity through running and fitness. Founded in 2019, We Off the Couch provides inclusive programming and removes barriers to participation to create a safe place for people of all ages, races, fitness levels, and socioeconomic backgrounds to find joy and community in running. Through its inclusive approach to fitness and community building, We Off the Couch has demonstrated that wellness extends beyond physical health to encompass mental health, emotional support, and the creation of lasting bonds among community members. I want to thank We Off the Couch for their dedication to strengthening their community. And I move adoption of the resolution and also ask that we give them a warm house welcome.
The delegate from Richmond City. The delegate from Richmond City moves that the House adopt House Resolution 225, commending We Off the Couch. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. Congratulations. Y'all can start recruiting down here because a lot of these folk own the couch. They own the couch. The delegate from Suffolk, Delegate Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for introduction.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker and members of the House, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome the students and faculty from Franklin High School, from the city of Franklin to the Virginia General Assembly. If they could please rise. Mr. Speaker, the story of Franklin High School reflects the very spirit of determination and progress that defines its community. It begins with the vision of the late James T. Pratlow, who, in the absence of a free public school, opened a small classroom in his own home on Gay Street in the city of Franklin. From a one-room structure that once had to relocate due to rising floodwaters, to larger quarters on North Fleet Street, to a modern brick building in 1907, and eventually to the present campus opened in 1967. The school has continually grown to meet the needs of its students. Over the decades, expansion, renovations, and new academic spaces have reflected Franklin's enduring commitment to educational opportunity. Today, the commitment is guided by the mission and vision of the Franklin City Public Schools, which thrives and strives to be a premier school division, fostering community partnerships, hands-on learning, and real-world experiences for every student. The division promotes high academic standards, social-emotional development, innovation, and leadership, while maintaining a safe and supportive environment. As these students observe democracy in action today, they embody that vision of excellence, professionalism, teamwork, and engaged citizenship. Mr. Speaker and members of the House, please join me in welcoming the students from Franklin High School.
Welcome to the Capitol today. Pursuant to House Rule 30, the journal shall reflect that the following members are away on pressing personal business and are granted leave from today's session. Delegate Simons. The clerk will announce the next order.
The second portion of the morning hour reserved for the announcements of legislation to be moved from an uncontested calendar to the regular. There are 4 in that first category today. Senate bills third reading uncontested. Page 2 of the printed calendar, Senator Evans, SB 129, over to the regular calendar. Page 7, same category, Senator Williams Graves, SB 180, out of the block to the regular calendar. Page 13, Senator Jones, SB 725, out of the block to the regular calendar. And on page 14, Senator Stanley's SB 764, out of the block over to the regular calendar. Those are all at the request of Delegate Wyatt.
Clerk will announce the next order.
Third portion of the morning hour reserved for the announcement member request for legislation to be go by for the day, and if such, the motion by the majority leader. There are 3. The aforementioned Senator Stanley's SB 764 on page 14 over to the regular calendar and by for the day. New category, Senate bills third reading, regular, page 17, Senator Stewart's SB 386, by for the day at the request of Delegate Tran. And same category, but going ahead to page 27, Senator Van Valkenburg's SB 454, by for the day at the request of Delegate Tran.
Delegate from Alexander, Delegate Herring.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the legislation as announced by the clerk go by for the day.
Delegate from Alexander, Delegate Herring, moves that the legislation as announced by the clerk go by for the day. As many in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. The clerk will announce the next order.
And the fourth and final portion of the morning hour is reserved for members' requests for points of personal privilege.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On Friday of last week, there was a lot of conversation on the floor about rising grocery store prices, and some really odd numbers were thrown out. My colleague across the aisle even spoke of 1-gallon container of orange juice dropping in price by 65 cents since 2023. That was the kicker. 2023. All of the delegates' examples were from 2023. The pandemic ended in 2023. Grocery prices are at their peak and then started to come down. Unfortunately, we are now seeing them rise again. Why? Why? One word, Mr. Speaker, tariffs. And for those who don't know what a tariff is, they are a tax on American consumers. And because of those tariffs, Mr. Speaker, since January of 2025, the price of orange juice actually rose by 28% nationwide. In fact, between 2025 and January 2025 and January 2026, overall food prices in the United States increased by 3%. Since January 2025, the price of ground beef has increased over 21%. The price of coffee over 33%. I can keep going, Mr. Speaker. All of these numbers are from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Consumer Price Index, and the federal agriculture data. Here's the thing. The 10% baseline tariffs imposed in early 2025 on most goods are contributing to rising, not falling, food costs here in Virginia. Mr. Speaker, you can't outspin the grocery bill at the register. Virginia families are hurting, and the federal administration's tariffs took $1,700 from working families who already couldn't afford it, raising things on costs people buy every day. The Supreme Court just ruled that it was illegal. Now we're hearing that the administration is refusing to give the stolen money back. Mr. Speaker, Democrats will continue to fight to end these harmful tariffs and return the money back to the people it belongs to, consumers. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Delegate from Roanoke County, Delegate McNamara.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't know exactly what a gallon or three quarts of orange juice costs, but I know every single thing in that grocery store could drop by 1% if we got rid of the grocery tax. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The delegate from Spotsylvania, Delegate Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this morning during the Speaker's devotion, Reverend Dr. Taylor Lewis Guthrie Hartman read from Esther chapter 1. Mr. Speaker, for me, the lesson was about the importance of a woman, Queen Vashti, who in her stance, example, and defiance made a way for another woman, Esther, to serve a greater purpose. We have many examples of this in our history. Women who take on the work, who make a way for others to be able to serve a greater purpose. Yesterday, my colleague spoke about Maggie Lena Walker, who, as a financial professional myself, is an inspiration to me. Still, today I want to tell you about two additional women, one who, like Queen Vashti, came before Maggie Lena Walker, and another who worked alongside her. First, I'd like to speak of Eliza Allen, born enslaved in Westmoreland County, Virginia, around 1840. She would go on to become the only woman listed on the charter of the True Reformer Savings Bank, the first chartered African-American owned bank in the U.S. Eliza was a woman who refused to be confined by her circumstances. While enslaved, she established 3 secret societies to foster joy in the worst of circumstances. Her work continued after emancipation when Eliza and her family moved to Petersburg, Virginia. And like many African-American women, Eliza worked as a laundress to support her family while continuing to devote her time to African-American economic self-help organizations, holding positions in numerous orders, including the Eastern Star, Tents of the Gidding and Joloffe Union, and Independent Order of St. Luke. The tireless efforts and committed leadership of Eliza and women like her laid the foundation for mutual aid, benevolence, and burial aid societies, the roots of which grew from the societies she secretly supported during slavery, and which paved the path for creation of banks and insurance companies supporting African-American communities. Through the story of Eliza Allen, we learned that the circumstances of our birth do not define who or what we will become. Secondly, I speak to the life of Lillian H. Payne, known as the banker's banker, as Lillian Payne served as the right-hand woman to Maggie Lena Walker. Born in 1867, Lillian began her career as a teacher when she was 16 years old. She met Maggie Lena Walker in the 1890s in the Women's Union, a cooperative society organized by African-American women supporting the community through operation of an insurance office, a grocery store, and a rooming house. Lillian would become one of 4 women selected by Walker to lead the revival of the Independent Order of St. Luke's, where she worked for over 50 years. She led the finance committee at St. Luke Bank and was the underwriter for thousands of mortgages in the Black community in Richmond. Lillian's role in the bank helped thousands of African Americans around the country achieve part of their American dream. Also, Lillian Payne became editor of the St. Luke Herald, the publication for the Independent Order of St. Luke. The paper focused on political and social issues in addition to business and membership news. During her tenure, the paper had 100,000 members with a 30% subscribership amongst Black Richmond families. Through the story of Lillian Payne, we learned that those of us who take the risk to stand in a greater purpose don't do it alone. Mr. Speaker, I want us in this Women's History Month to consider, remember, and over the next 30 days, celebrate the women like Eliza Allen, from whose sacrifice and example pave a way for us to be here to serve, and also the Lillian Paynes in our lives, the women, and it is often a woman, behind the scenes, working in support or in tandem, who help us accomplish our greater purpose. Happy Women's History Month. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The delegate from Henrico, Delegate Navarre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to ask that we return to the first morning hour for the purpose of an introduction.
The delegate has the floor.
Great, thank you. Today I am pleased to welcome a wonderful group of constituents from Avery Point, one of the leading retirement communities in the west end of Richmond. I ask those who are able to please rise. Avery Point is a vibrant community of engaged Virginians who continue to lead, volunteer, and advocate on issues that matter locally and across the Commonwealth. In fact, its residents successfully advocated for a polling place within their community, one that has been in place for the past 2 years. They stay informed, they show up, and they make their voices heard, reminding us legislators that strong communities and a healthy democracy depend on Virginians of every generation remaining active and engaged. They are here today touring the Capitol and seeing their government at work, and I'm grateful for their continued leadership and involvement in our Commonwealth. Mr. Speaker, I ask that the House join me in giving our guests from Avery Point a warm House welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol today. Clerk, call the calendar.
For today, for the Virginia House of Delegates this Wednesday, March 4th, 2026, about 100+ bills to process today. Beginning page 1 of the printed calendar, first category, Senate bills on third reading or final passage, uncontested calendar block. We begin with Senate Bill 777, which is legislation to amend the Code of Virginia relating to regional electric transmission entities, voting members, annual report. Legislation report committee on Labor and Commerce with a substitute.
Delegate from Hampton, Delegate Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first I move the substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the substitute simply previously included voting members, and it has a different definition of the meeting. And but the bill does is it requires a member of a regional transition entity to submit an annual report to the state corporation by February the 1st of each year. Mr. Speaker, I move passage of the bill.
Continuing with the block, Senate Bill 129, top of page 2 of the printed calendar, is over to the regular calendar. Next up in the uncontested block is Senate Bill 267, which would direct the Department of Energy and the State Corporation Commission to direct a comprehensive analysis of existing electric utility infrastructure report. Legislation report Committee on Labor and Commerce and subsequently by the Committee on Appropriations.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Krizik.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is identical to House Bill 114, which passed this body unanimously 99-0. It directs the Virginia Department of Energy in consultation with the State Corporation Commission to conduct a comprehensive analysis of existing electric utility infrastructure. And, Mr. Speaker, I move that this bill pass.
Senate Bill 529 now before you seeks to amend and reenact two sections of the Code of Virginia relating to public schools, school security and discipline, employment of school security officers, training requirements. Legislation Report Committee on Public Safety.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, Senate Bill 529 has to do with the training for school security officers in the Commonwealth. It amends the requirements for the training course in which an individual employed as a school security officer is required to submit proof of in order to carry a firearm in the performance of their duties. I move that the bill pass.
Over on page 4, we come to Senate Bill 600, which seeks to amend and reenact a section of the Code of Virginia relating to non-judicial disciplinary proceedings in the Virginia National Guard. Legislation, again, reported to the Committee on Public Safety.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon.
Mr. Speaker, Senate Bill 600 removes the restriction on non-judicial disciplinary proceedings that prevents reduction in rank for members with more than 10 years of service who are in the rank of E5 or above. I move the bill pass.
Senate Bill 24 is next up in the block. It seeks to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia, all related to discovery, methods of delivery, report. Legislation Committee for Courts of Justice with an amendment nature substitute.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Keys-Gamarra.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, Senate Bill 24. I move the substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Keys-Gamarra.
I'm sorry, I need to make a correction. I need to ask the body to reject the substitute.
Motion to reconsider.
Mr. Speaker,
reconsider. Oh,
having voted on the prevailing side by which we adopted the committee substitute, I move that we reconsider that vote.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon, having voted on the prevailing side by which we adopted the committee substitute, moves that we reconsider that vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. The delegate from Fairfax.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I was saying previously, I'm asking the floor to reject the substitute.
Shall the committee substitute
Move the substitute and reject it.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. Committee substitute is rejected. The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Keys-Gamarra.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 118 is simply improving access to documents in criminal trials to make sure the defense counsel gets information to prepare, and I move that we pass this bill. Thank you.
Next up in the block, uncontested block, Senate Bill 83 is legislation to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to security policies for courthouses and local or regional correctional facilities. Penalty. Legislation for Committee of Courts of Justice with amendments.
Delegate from Richmond City, Delegate Cousins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House agree to the committee amendments.
Shall the committee amendments be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee amendments are agreed to. The delegate from Richmond City, Delegate Cousins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. SB 83 is similar to my HB 872, which requires the chief judge of every district and circuit court to set a policy for the possession of portable electronic devices by visitors to the court. The substitute changes the language from may to shall to ensure that all courts permit visitor devices under a defined policy set by judges. It also includes parts of Delegate Keys-Gamarra's HB 1392, which allows attorneys with proper credentials to bypass security and requires local jails to establish a means of confidential communication between lawyers and their clients. Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill pass.
Over on page 5 of the printed calendar, we come to Senate Bill 106, legislation to amend the Code of Virginia relating to selling, giving, or distributing thianeptine product, civil penalty. Legislation Report Committee for Courts of Justice with amendments.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee amendments.
Shall the committee amendments be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee amendments are agreed to.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 106 makes a retailer who knowingly sells or distributes, I will say it properly, a thianeptine product without a prescription is subject to a civil penalty in the amount of $500 for a first violation, $2,500 for second or subsequent within 3 years. This is a powerful veterinary sedative, and I move the bill passage.
Turning to page 6, we come to Senate Bill 107, legislation to amend and reenact Section Code of Virginia relating to exemptions from jury service upon request, certain caretakers of persons with serious health conditions. Legislation Report Committee for Courts of Justice.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 107 adds as persons who may be exempt from jury service upon request of a person with legal custody and responsible for the care of a child under 18 years of age who has a serious health condition requiring continuous care by such person during court hours and a familiar caretaker with a person with serious health conditions. I move passage of the bill.
Next up in the block, Senate Bill 111, which seeks to amend and reenact Section Code of Virginia relating to prohibition on trespassing on certain emergency vehicles. Penalty. Legislation Report Committee for Courts of Justice.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 111 makes it a Class 4 misdemeanor to refuse to get off an emergency vehicle when directed to do so. I move the bill's passage.
Senate Bill 142 now before you seeks to amend and reenact portion of the Code of Virginia relating to the sale of retail tobacco products and hemp products intended for smoking to persons younger than 21 years of age. Civil penalty paid to locality. Legislative Report Committee of Courts of Justice with an amendment.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee amendment.
Shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee amendment is agreed to. The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 142, as amended with a reenactment clause, will look at the issues of the selling of hemp and tobacco products to minors. It started out just looking at extending the powers that localities have, and it is apparent that we need during this next year in the reenactment clause to make sure that there are not additional issues to be addressed. I move the bill's passage.
Next up in the uncontested block, Senate Bill 158 seeks to amend and reenact 2 sections of the Code of Virginia relating to the maximum number of judges in each judicial district and circuit. Legislative Report Committee for Courts of Justice with amendment nature substitute.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
I move the Committee of Courts of Justice substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Arlington, Douglas
Mr.
Hope.
Speaker, Senate Bill 158 now incorporates my House Bill 443, which has our judges. That's the recommendation of the Committee on District Courts. It also incorporates provisions of my bill, House Bill 1485, which includes judges for the Court of Appeals. I move passage of the bill.
Continuing with the uncontested block, Senate Bill 180 is out of the block over to the regular calendar. Therefore, top of page 8, we come next to Senate Bill 189, which seeks to amend the Code of Virginia relating to consumer debt collection proceedings, signing of pleadings, motions, and other papers. Legislation reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with amendments.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
I move the committee amendments.
Shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The committee amendment is agreed to. The delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As amended, the bill requires the attorney of record in any civil action to collect or enforce a consumer debt to include the initial pleading of any subsequent filing for such attorneys, includes their name and business telephone number, etc. I hope it will be a pleasure to the body to pass the bill.
Senate Bill 227 before you now seeks to amend and reenact portions of the Code of Virginia relating to arbitration, high-volume arbitration service providers, selection of arbitrator, civil penalty. Legislation Board Committee for Courts of Justice with amendments.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
I move the committee amendments.
Shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The committee amendment is agreed to. The delegate from Arlington,
Thank you,
Delegate
Mr. Speaker. As amended, Senate Bill 227 requires a high-volume arbitration service provider it defines him as a person or entity that administrators, facilitates, or provides arbitration services in the Commonwealth and conducts more than 100 arbitrations involving consumer in any transaction or dispute. Under this bill, a party aggrieved by the high-volume arbitration service provider that has failed to comply with such requirements may seek injunctive relief. I move passage of the bill.
Next up in the block is Senate Bill 330, which seeks to amend and reenact portions of the Code of Virginia relating to the Virginia Criminal Sentencing Commission, Department of Corrections, probation and parole officers, subscriber agreements with clerk's offices, secure remote access to court records. Legislation, again, reported Committee for Courts of Justice with amendment nature as substitute.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 330 allows from the Virginia Criminal Sentencing Commission and the Department of Corrections to have multiple user subscriber agreements to have remote access to court records. I move the passage of Senate Bill 330.
Continuing with the block, we come to Senate Bill 444, which is legislation seeks to amend and reenact multiple sections of the Code of Virginia relating to offenses relating to gift cards, penalties. Legislation Report Committee for Courts of Justice.
Delegate from Prince William, Delegate Maldonado.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, SB 444 is identical to HB 662 that I patroned and passed out of the House unanimously. I think the clerk did a good job of describing it. It just protects folks against gift card scams. Mr. Speaker, I move passage of the bill.
Over on page 11, we come in the block to Senate Bill 528, seeks to amend and reenact portions of the Code of Virginia related to competency treatment in misdemeanor proceedings. Legislation reported to Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the substance of the bill, 30% of the forensic admissions to state facilities, to state hospitals, are for competency restoration involving misdemeanors. And the bill will allow competency restoration on an outpatient basis in the community or in the jail. It also clarifies that the court may dismiss the charges and conduct a hearing for a temporary detention order for services in a mental hospital that are needed to restore the mental health of the individual, or alternatively may simply dismiss the charges. I move the passage of the bill.
Senate Bill 559 is now before you. It seeks to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to forgery venue. Legislation Report Committee for Courts of Justice with another amendment nature substitute.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 559 simply clarifies the venue for forgery where it occurs or where it takes place, where the actual forgery larceny is committed. I hope it will be the pleasure of the body to pass that bill.
Bottom of page 11, we come to Senate Bill 647, legislation to amend and reenact two sections of the Code of Virginia relating to use of unmanned aircraft systems by law enforcement officers, search warrants, model policy. This legislation reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with an amendment.
The delegate from Prince William, Delegate Sewell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move the committee amendment.
Shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee amendment is agreed to. Delegate from Prince William, Delegate Sewell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With the amendment, Senate Bill 647 is identical to my House Bill 1219, which assembles a work group to establish model policy for the usage of drones as first responders. Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill pass.
Over on page 12, we come to Senate Bill 660, which is legislation that seeks to amend and reenact portion of the Code of Virginia relating to Virginia Self-Service Storage Act, disposal of abandoned personal property in certain cases, definitions, legislation reporting Committee for Courts of Justice.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 660 creates a process by which the owner of a self-storage facility may dispose of personal property of an occupant at a leased storage space when such personal property has been left in such leased storage space on the property for the following termination of non-renewal or rental agreement. I move passage of the bill.
Next up in the uncontested block is Senate Bill 713, which seeks to amend and reenact section of the Code of Virginia relating to sheriffs, courthouse, and courtroom security, concurrent jurisdiction of certain officers present at a courthouse of different locality permitted. Legislation again reported to Committee for Courts of Justice.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 713 clarifies that when there is a courthouse that is serving more than one jurisdiction, the jurisdiction of the sheriff's office of a neighboring jurisdiction. I hope it will be the pleasure of the body to pass the bill.
Top of page 13, we come to Senate Bill 714, which seeks to amend and reenact portions of the Code of Virginia relating to duties and responsibilities of local pretrial service officers, assessments, legislation reporting Committee for Courts of Justice.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 714 requires a local pretrial services officer to conduct a risk assessment of defendants arrested on state or local warrants who are detained in jails located in the jurisdiction served by the local pretrial services agency while awaiting hearing for that court or considering bail. I move passage of the bill.
Senate Bill 25, middle of page 13, is out of the block. Next up in the block, therefore, is Senate Bill 743, legislation to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to damage or trespass to public services or utilities or critical infrastructure, penalties. Again, legislation report Committee for Courts of Justice.
Delegate from Dinwiddie, Delegate Pope Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. SB 743 is identical to HB 317, which passed the House 97-0, and updates our criminal code to address intentional destruction or damage to certain communications infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill pass.
Continuing with the block, Senate Bill 748, now before you, seeks to amend and reenact two sections of the Code of Virginia relating to issuance of vacator for victims of human trafficking. Legislation reported Committee for Courts of Justice.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Mr. Speaker, let's see here, 748. Can that go by for the... Oh, Delegate Delaney has it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Delaney.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 748, patroned by Senator Locke, is identical to my House Bill 1298 as it is leaving the Senate and provides critical relief to survivors of human trafficking by allowing convictions against them to be vacated if the conviction is a misdemeanor or a nonviolent felony. I hope it is the will of the body to pass the bill.
Senate Bill 764 is by for the day. Next up, top of page 15 in the uncontested block is Senate Bill 776, legislation to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to requiring fines, costs, restitution for damage to support or community services for probationer failure to pay. Legislation reported Committee for Courts of Justice with amendments.
The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee amendments.
Shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee amendment is agreed to. The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 764 allows for deferred disposition where there is driving under the influence either of a vehicle or of a boat. It also, however, takes out the requirement that there be agreement by the Commonwealth's attorney in this, and it also inserts that you may use ignitions interlock. I hope it will be the pleasure of the body to pass the bill.
That was the last bill that went by. Anybody want to do this bill?
Mr. Speaker,
the delegate from
Senate Bill,
Delegate Hope.
Senate Bill 776, I move the committee amendments.
Shall the committee members agree to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The committee members agree to. The delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As amended, this bill provides the failure of a defendant to pay any fines or costs imposed on them at the time of being placed on probation. As a condition of their probation shall not by itself be deemed a breach of such probation unless the court finds after notice in counsel that the defendant has been willingly refused to pay or failed to make sufficient bona fide efforts to acquire the resources to pay. It will be a pleasure to the body to pass the bill.
Continuing with the block, Senate Bill 779, now before you, seeks to amend and reenact portions of the Code of Virginia, all related to eminent domain, condemnation proceedings, entry of order and recordation of certificate, disbursement of funds by Circuit Court Clerk. Legislation Report Committee for Courts of Justice.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the body. Senate Bill 779 provides that the clerk of a circuit court shall, upon entry of order of condemnation proceeding, promptly disperse any just compensation in the amount specified in the order and any interest accrued. I move passage of the bill.
Next up in the block, Senate Bill 804, now before you, seeks to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to the Judicial Inquiry and Review Commission's submission of annual report. Legislation, again, Report Committee for Courts of Justice with an amendment.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Speaker, I move the committee amendments.
Shall the committee amendments be agreed to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The committee amendments are agreed to. The delegate from Arlington, Delegate
Mr.
Hope.
Speaker, Senate Bill 804 provides that the decision whether to rescind or retract any portion of an annual report submitted by JERC shall be made by consensus of the majority of the chairs of the House and Senate committees for Courts of Justice and their ranking members of the minority party. I move passage of the bill.
And the last bill on the third reading uncontested calendar block is Senate Bill 812, legislation to amend and reenact multiple sections of the Code of Virginia relating to victims of crime, reimbursement for expenses, work group. Legislation Report Committee for Courts of Justice with an amendment nature substitute.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Shin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee substitute from the Committee on Courts of Justice.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Shin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 812 with this substitute is now identical to House Bill 1464, which passed out of this body on February 17th on a vote of 97-0. The major difference between what came over from the Senate and what we have aligned them to was the requirement for this sexual assault forensic examiner coordinator to be a registered nurse. Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be passed.
Shall the bills pass?
Okay.
Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 97, no 0.
Ayes 97, no 0. The bills pass.
Continuing with today's
Speaker.
calendar. Sorry.
The delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring.
Mr. Speaker, I rise for a motion.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, having voted on the prevailing side on which we passed the block of bills on the third uncontested calendar, I move that we reconsider the vote so that two members can cast their votes.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring, moves, having voted on the prevailing side by which we passed a block of votes that we do every single day, that every single day we have to do this, that we reconsider that vote so some members who are sitting in their desk can vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Madam Clerk. So bad. Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 99, no 0.
Ayes 99, no 0. The bills pass. Mr. Clerk.
Continuing with today's calendar, new category, middle of page 17, Senate bills on third reading regular. If you're following that way, Senate Bill 386 is by for the day. Therefore, first bill in this new category is Senate Bill 164, which seeks to amend and reenact Section of the Code of Virginia relating to health insurance, ethics, and fairness in carrier business practices, downcoded claims. Legislation was reported from the Committee on Labor and Commerce with an amendment in the nature of a substitute.
The delegate from Hampton, Delegate Ward.
No. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. I've got this one, if that's okay.
House will be at ease.
No.
From Fairfax, Delegate Shan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm sorry about that. I'm wondering if we could, I would move adoption of the substitute from the Committee on Courts, or I'm sorry, it came out of on Committee on Commerce and Labor, and ask that we reject that substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no.
No.
The committee substitute is rejected. The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Shan.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I would like to move that we adopt the floor substitute, and if I could speak to that substitute.
House will be at ease.
Temporarily, please.
Without objection, the bill is by temporarily. Mr. Clerk.
Continuing, Mr. Speaker, members of the House, we come now third reading regular to Senate Bill 25, which would direct the Director of Department of Energy to identify and develop training resources to advance workforce development in the offshore wind industry. This legislation also is reported to the Committee on Labor and Commerce, subsequently reported by the Committee on Appropriations, and the latter did so with amendment.
Delegate from Virginia Beach, Delegate Fagans.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House adopt the House Appropriations Committee amendment.
Shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee amendment is agreed to. The delegate from Virginia Beach, Delegate Fagans.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment makes Senate Bill 25 identical to my House Bill 67, Offshore Wind Workforce Development Act, which passed this body 85-12. It directs the Department of Energy to develop workforce training for offshore wind jobs while prioritizing veterans, local workers, and historically disadvantaged communities. I move passage of this bill.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 86, noes 13.
Ayes 86, noes 13. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 34 now before you seeks to amend and reenact multiple sections of the Code of Virginia relating to incapacitated persons, finding of lack of capacity to understand the act of voting. Legislation Report Committee Privileges and Elections with amendment nature substitute.
Delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Thank you. The substitute provides that no person shall be deemed disqualified to vote due to the lack of capacity for the purposes of the Constitution of Virginia, unless the court makes a specific finding by clear and convincing evidence that such person lacks the capacity to understand the act of voting. This bill is identical to House Bill 1014 that passed the House 64-34, and I move that the bill pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 65, noes 34.
Ayes 65, noes 34. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 64 before you now seeks to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to the Department of Juvenile Justice, commitment of juveniles to the department, petition to extend duration of indeterminate commitment. Legislation Report Committee on Public Safety.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senate Bill 64 creates a process by which the Department of Juvenile Justice, upon determining that a juvenile currently committed to the department should continue such commitment beyond the high end of the length of state guidelines, may petition the court that ordered the juvenile's indeterminate commitment to the department to extend such juvenile's commitment. This bill is a recommendation of the Virginia Commission on Youth. I move the bill pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 64, noes 34.
Ayes 64, noes 30.
I'm sorry, 64-35. I apologize.
Ayes 64, noes 35. The bill passes.
Over on page 20, we come next to Senate Bill 118, legislation amendment reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to a Virginia lottery, casinos, internet gaming, authorized penalties. Legislation originally reported for Committee General Laws with Amendment H subsequent reported by the Committee on Appropriations.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, Senate Bill 118 has been conformed to my House Bill 161. This is the iGaming bill. The bill, again, has been conformed, so that changes where the funds will go to. It also adds the reenactment clause that gives us a year to look at this issue, take a close look at all the safeguards, guardrails, and things we're going to do to try and prevent problem gaming and make this actually a bill that improves the process. I move the committee substitute that does all that.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon.
And so, Mr. Speaker, as I said, with that substitute, it does all the things I just described, and I hope it will be the pleasure of the body to pass the bill.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 70, noes 29.
Ayes 70, noes 29. The bill passes.
Over on page 21, we come to Senate Bill 123, a legislation amendment reenact a portion of the Acts of Assembly of 1976, which provided a charter for the city of Poquoson relating to schools. Legislation reported Committee on County, Cities, and Towns, subsequently approved by the reported by Committee on Privileges and Elections with a substitute.
Delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now this amends the charter for the city of Poquoson to clarify the name, appointment process, and restrictions on the membership for the city's school board. The bill changes the full-term appointment length from 3 years to 4 years, alters the composition of the school board to 7 at-large members, and prohibits school board appointees from serving on any other board, commission, or committee. I move that we pass the bill.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 98, noes 1.
Ayes 98, noes 1. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 126 now before you seeks to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to elections, primary elections, when filings to be made, extension for incumbents, failure to file. Legislation again, report Committee on Privileges and Elections.
Delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 126 provides that if an incumbent office holder fails to file the necessary paperwork to qualify to be on the ballot for a primary election for the office they hold by the deadline for filing such paperwork, then the deadline for such paperwork is extended by 5 days for any filer other than the incumbent. The bill has a delayed effective date of January 1st, 2027, and I move that the bill pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 76, noes 23.
Ayes 76, noes 23. The bill passes.
Over on page 22, we come next in third reading regular to Senate Bill 169, which seeks to amend the Code of Virginia relating to elections, candidates for office, challenges to candidate qualifications. Legislation again, report Committee on Privileges and Elections.
Delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill requires any legal action relating to a person's eligibility to appear on the ballot on the basis that such person did not meet all qualifications or fulfill all requirements for candidacy to be filed in circuit court, and lists out several provisions that must be met, including at least 90 days before the date of a general election. And it also discusses the dates for primary elections and special elections. I move that the bill pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 63, noes 36.
Ayes 63, noes 36. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 170 now before you seeks to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to the protection of employees, covenants not to compete, discharged employees. Legislation originally reported to Committee on Labor and Commerce and then subsequently by Committee on Appropriations.
The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Krizik.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 170 strengthens employee protections related to non-compete agreements in Virginia. It prohibits enforcement of a covenant not to compete when an employee is discharged from employment under specified circumstances. What it ensures is that Virginians who are discharged from employment are free to get back to work, supporting both workers and a competitive economy. Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill passes.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 87, noes 12.
Ayes 87, noes 12. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 218 would direct the Director of the Department of Corrections to pause placements at Red Onion State Prison. Legislation reported from the Committee on Public Safety.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, Senate Bill 218, as the clerk said, directs the Director of the Department of Corrections to continue accepting and reviewing applications for the confinement of inmates from a state party to interstate correction, from a state party to the Interstate Corrections Compact, but prohibits any placement of any such inmate at Red Onion State Prison until such time as the General Assembly reauthorizes such placement by act of Assembly. I move the bill pass.
The delegate from Scott County, Delegate Kilgore.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speak to the bill.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Red Onion happens to be in the area that I represent, and for someone to be taken to Red Onion, it's all about their security level, their classification. This is a high-end security prison at Red Onion. I know that some of you have been to Red Onion. And what this bill does, it directs DOC on what they can or cannot do as it relates to inmates. And they do trade, the DOC does trade inmates with other states because it allows Virginia to send problem inmates elsewhere and vice versa. So, this is something that we're tying DOC's hands. I think DOC is very capable. I know they got new leadership. I think they're very capable in doing what needs to be done. So I would hope that we would vote no on this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 63, noes 36.
Ayes 63, noes 36. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 328 now before you seeks to amend and reenact Section Code of Virginia related to housing for local employees, grants for home ownership. Legislation report committee, county, cities, and towns.
Delegate from Prince William County, Delegate Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senate Bill 328 is identical to my House Bill 164 that merely lifts the cap to a longstanding program to permit localities to provide affordable housing to critical employees such as firefighters and police officers. I move passage of the bill.
The delegate from Spotsylvania, Delegate Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the bill.
Delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, free houses for local government employees. I mean, that sounds like a really awesome job perk. But I suggest that in a time where people are worried about paying their energy bills, paying for groceries, still prices need to come down more. There's still work to be done, like removing the grocery tax. Virginians don't want to be paying not only for their own mortgages, but for the mortgages of the local zoning inspector, the county administrator, or whoever else may have had a house provided at their expense. Mr. Speaker, this bill is emblematic of what people hate about government. Insiders get perks while the common people pay the bill. I urge a no vote, if for no other reason, to show taxpayers that we respect them.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 62, noes 35.
Ayes 62, noes 35. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 351 now before you seeks to amend and reenact portions of the Code of Virginia relating to certain civil arrests prohibited in courthouses. Penalty. Legislation Board Committee on Public Safety with amendment nature as substitute.
Delegate from Albemarle, Delegate Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House adopt the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Albemarle, Delegate Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The substitute conforms Senate Bill 351 to my cognate House Bill 650, which passed this body 63 to 35. As substituted, the Senate bill is a bill to provide due process protections, i.e., generally requiring judicial warrant, notifications, or exigent circumstances for ICE enforcement activities that are occurring in sensitive or protected spaces, courthouses, voting locations, schools, Commonwealth attorneys' offices, and hospitals. Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill pass.
The delegate from Scott County, Delegate Kilgore.
Mr. Speaker, speak to the bill.
Delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, the Commonwealth cannot tell the U.S. government where and how it can enforce its laws. That's what this does. Let me make a prediction right here. The first time any officer of the Commonwealth charges one of the agents, it'll be removed to federal court or it'll be thrown out quickly. That's what's going to happen with this case. It will have no impact other than to generate expensive court costs, and it puts ICE and those folks that you don't want on the streets back on the streets to make their arrests. So really, you're absolutely doing the opposite of what you want to do. So, Mr. Speaker, I would ask that we vote no on this bill.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 64, noes 35.
Ayes 64, noes 35. The bill passes.
Over on page 24, we come to Senate Bill 352, legislation to amend and reenact portions of the Code of Virginia relating to law enforcement officers, restrictions on wearing of facial coverings, exceptions, penalty. Legislation Board Committee Public Safety with amendment nature substitute.
Delegate from Richmond City, Delegate Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move the public safety substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be go ahead.
And ask the body to pass it.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Richmond City, Delegate Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now with this substitute, SB 352 is identical to my bill, HB 1482, which passed out of this body 63 to 35. And just as a reminder, this is a public safety bill that limits and restricts when and how officers need to identify themselves to the public. I move passage of the bill.
Delegate from Chesapeake, Delegate Leftwich.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the bill.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We've talked about at length how this bill would immediately run into a federal supremacy buzzsaw. What we haven't talked about is how this and other similar bills we have before us will make it harder for federal law enforcement to do their jobs. One in Virginia has already been killed by an illegal alien since the governor ended cooperation with federal law enforcement. Let's not make it worse. I encourage a no vote on this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 64, noes 35.
Ayes 64, noes 35. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 364 seeks to amend the Code of Virginia relating to Department of Criminal Justice Services Safer Communities Firearm Violence Intervention and Prevention Initiatives. Legislation Board Committee on Public Safety with amendment nature of substitute.
Delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Thank you. Now this bill is identical to my House Bill 969 that would establish a work group to centralize research, funding, programming, and resources for gun violence prevention in various agencies and organizations. The cognate passed 61 to 35, and I move that the bill will pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 64, noes 35.
Ayes 64, noes 35. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 382 now before you seeks to amend the Code of Virginia relating to smart solar permitting platform established, residential solar energy systems. Legislation originally reported for the Committee on Labor and Commerce with a substitute, then subsequently by the Committee on Appropriations.
Delegate from Norfolk, Delegate Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Norfolk, Delegate Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is legislation to make the process of getting a rooftop solar project permitted more quickly and more efficiently. Specifically, the bill directs the Department of Energy to set up an online platform that has the ability to review permit applications and approve them automatically for the simplest projects. I move that the bill pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 73, noes 26.
Ayes 73, noes 26. The bill passes.
Over on page 26, we come third reading regular calendar to Senate Bill 424, legislation to amend and reenact two sections of the Code of Virginia relating to alcoholic beverage control, government stores, distillers, licensees as agents of the board, sale of alcoholic beverages. Legislation report Committee on General Laws and then by the Committee on Appropriations.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, Senate Bill 424 is very similar to my House Bill 934, which we heard earlier in the session. This allows distillers to set up tasting rooms and things on site and on distiller sites. The difference is really in the amount of the sample size they're allowed to serve at any one time. My bill had 4.5. This does 6 ounces. Otherwise, it's very similar, and it's the pleasure of the body to pass the bill.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 95, noes 3.
Ayes 95, noes 3. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 438, now before you, seeks to amend and reenact a section of the Code of Virginia relating to elections, absentee voting in person, available the second Sunday before all elections. Legislation Report Committee on Privileged Elections with an amendment.
Delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Is there no?
Mr. Speaker, can this bill go by temporarily?
Without objection, SB 438 goes by temporarily.
No. Continuing with the calendar, top of page 27, that legislation is by for day in the printed calendar. So next up in the third reading block, now before you is Senate Bill 496, legislation to amend the Code of Virginia relating to secure storage of handguns, unattended vehicle penalty. Legislation Report Committee on Public Safety with an amendment nature substitute.
Delegate from Albemarle, Delegate Lawfer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 496 is now the same language as my bill, House Bill 110, which passed this body 62 to 35, which addresses gun violence prevention by making it a civil penalty. Sorry. Can we accept the committee substitute?
Are you moving the committee substitute?
Yes.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And again, now this is in the same posture as House Bill 110, addresses gun violence prevention by making it a civil penalty for leaving a firearm in an unattended vehicle. And I move that the House pass this bill.
Delegate from Campbell County, Delegate Zare.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the bill.
Delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, once again, here we go, punishing victims instead of the criminals. If we want to reduce the theft of handguns from cars, why don't we increase the penalties for those who do? A 10-year mandatory minimum for the theft of a handgun from a car would be far more appropriate than, here. But public safety seems to have the same problem affordability does around here. Those words don't seem to mean what the majority party thinks they mean. I urge a no vote.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Excuse me. Ayes 63, noes 36.
Ayes 63, noes 36. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 531, now before you, seeks to amend the Code of Virginia relating to zoning, development, and use of accessory dwelling units. Legislation Report Committee, County, Cities, and Towns.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. SB 531 was the cognate to my HB 611 that was continued, sadly. However, Senator Srinivasan and stakeholders continue to work on his version, and I'm happy to support the bill in its current form. I'm proud of our former colleague from the House of Delegates. It establishes a statewide framework for accessory dwelling units in a single-family residential zoning where a locality chooses to allow them. I hope that the bill will pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 62, noes 37.
Ayes 62, noes 37. The bill passes.
Mr. Speaker, what bill are we on? Next up, we come over to page 28. Page 28, we come to Senate Bill 542, legislation to amend a wide variety of sections, reenact a wide variety of sections of the Code of Virginia, repeal several others, all relating to cannabis control, retail market penalties. Legislation was reported to the Committee on General Laws with a substitute, and then subsequently reported by the Committee on Appropriations with a differing substitute.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Creasy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the general law substitute, and I ask that the body vote no, reject the substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no.
No.
Committee substitute is rejected. Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Creasy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now I move that the appropriations substitute and that we vote yes.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Creasy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The substitute before us conforms Senator Aird's Senate Bill 542 to my cognate House Bill 642 as it passed this body 65 to 32 to establish a legal adult use retail cannabis market in the Commonwealth. As we get this bill into conference, Senator Aird and I will continue our work to get this bill into the best posture to ensure Virginia consumers have access to a safe, regulated, and taxed product with public safety at the forefront. Mr. Speaker, I move the bill pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 66, noes 33.
Ayes 66, noes 33. The bill passes.
Over on page 29, we come to Senate Bill 582, which is legislation to amend and reenact four sections of the Code of Virginia relating to elections, absentee and provisional ballots, process and timing for rejected absentee ballot applications, returned absentee ballots, and rejected provisional ballots. Legislation reported to the Committee on Privileges and Election with amendment nature substitute, and the chair of the Committee on Privileges and Elections, Delegate Price, has a floor substitute.
The delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee substitute and ask that the members vote no.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is rejected. The delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Yes, and now I do have a floor substitute.
Clerk will report.
And the floor substitute, Mr. Speaker, for Senate Bill 582 is available to the members on iHod to the public on the Legislative Information System, so therefore is before you now.
Delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Yes, thank you. The floor substitute conforms this bill to House Bill 774, adds a delayed enactment, changes written notice to telephone notice, and directs elect to issue guidance on treating all provisional ballots equally. I move that we accept the floor amendment.
Shall the floor substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The floor substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, as substituted, this bill is, again, identical to House Bill 774, and after the Senate amendments are accepted today, and establishes a timeline for a cure process for provisional ballots, and the cognate passed the House 62 to 35, and I move that the bill pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 64, noes 35.
Ayes 64, noes 35. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 602 now before you seeks to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to Marcus Alert System, external database information removal. Legislative Report Committee on Public Safety.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this bill go by for the day.
Delegate from Fairfax, move SB 602 go by for the day. As many in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. 602 is by for the day.
Senate Bill 643, then, is the next bill before you. It seeks to amend and reenact a portion of the Code of Virginia relating to possession or transportation of certain firearms by certain persons. Penalty. Legislative Report Committee on Public Safety with amendment nature as substitute.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Alexandria, Delegate McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. SB 643 has now been conformed to my HB 1525, which prevents the purchase of firearms of anyone under 21, which passed the House 58 to 37. Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 61, noes 37.
Ayes 61, noes 37. The bill passes.
Over on page 30, we come to Senate Bill 666, legislation to amend the Code of Virginia relating to the Department of Housing and Community Development, Housing Development Database. Legislation originally reported to the Committee on General Laws and the Committee on Appropriations.
Delegate from Fairfax. Delegate Creasy.
Mr. Speaker, this Senate bill directs the Department of Housing and Community Development to create a statewide housing development database and requires collection and publication of standardized housing development data from every Virginia locality. It aims to improve statewide understanding of housing supply and development trends and provides policymakers and the public with reliable housing data. Mr. Speaker, despite the number, I move that the bill pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 63, noes 35.
63, noes 35. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 688, now before you, seeks to amend the Code of Virginia relating to campaign finance, campaign contribution limits, contingency. Legislation was reported to Committee on Privileges and Elections, and they did so with an amendment nature substitute.
Delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As substituted, this bill states that the Supreme Court's decisions in Citizens United versus FEC in 2010 and McKeechian and FEC versus FEC in 2014 and other related campaign finance cases were wrongly decided, that such decisions undermine the integrity of Virginia's democratic process by preventing reasonable limits on campaign contributions and expenditures, and that contribution and expenditure limits will enhance public trust in Virginia's electoral system. I move that the bill pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 89, noes 10.
Ayes 89, noes 10. The bill passes.
Over on page 31, we come to Senate Bill 690, which is legislation to amend and reenact two sections of the Code of Virginia relating to the Department of Criminal Justice Services, powers and duties, local and regional jails, repeal of Model Addiction Recovery Program. Legislation for Committee on Public Safety.
Delegate from Henrico, Delegate Willett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. SB 690 is identical to my HB 454. This removes the requirement that the Department of Criminal Justice Services, in consultation with the Department of Behavioral Health, develop a model addiction recovery program for local and regional jails. Instead, there's going to be funding directed or redirected in the budget to support the jail mental health pilot program. Mr. Speaker, I hope that the bill will pass, and I move that the bill will pass. Thank you.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 98, noes 1.
Ayes 98, ayes 99.
I'm sorry, ayes 99, noes 0.
Ayes 99, noes 0. We got some fickle people today.
Yes.
The bill passes.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, we now come to Senate Bill 727. SB 727 seeks to amend and reenact Section Code of Virginia relating to carrying assault firearms in public areas prohibited. Penalty. Legislation for Committee on Public Safety with an amendment nature substitute.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Alexandria, Delegate McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, SB 727 has now been conformed to my HB 1524, which prevents the public open carry of certain firearms, which passed the House 54 to 41. Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill pass.
Delegate from Buckingham, Delegate Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the bill.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senate Bill 727 was bad enough before we conformed it to HB 1524. I literally, Mr. Speaker, wondered if we were being pranked when I read the words in this bill. You see, this bill would prevent people in Virginia from carrying on any, quote, any public street, highway, alley, etc., on or about his person, etc., 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 so forth and so on, assault weapons. Now, Mr. Speaker, I don't know how many people in this chamber are familiar with the Rossi Tuffy, but that is a single-shot break-action 410 shotgun. That is, you shoot it, and then you break it open, you pull the shell out, you put another one in. Sold with a thumbhole loop, which under this bill is an assault weapon. It would prohibit the transport of the Ruger American rifle, which is a bolt-action rifle with a 5-round magazine, but a threaded barrel, which under this bill is an assault weapon. Mr. Speaker, I'm flummoxed. And so I thought about, how do I communicate? I took the patrons of the Senate bill and just put it into AI, removing their localities from the presidential election results, and realized that if you just took out those 3 localities in Nova, Trump wins the election by 100,000 votes. So I thought to myself, Mr. Speaker, maybe I just speak a different language than they do, and maybe I need to understand how to speak to them in Nova, ROVA being rest of Virginia, Nova being Northern Virginia. So, Mr. Speaker, the presidential nominee that carried those localities was fond of Venn diagrams. In my district, we have these things, just for people in Nova, called pickup trucks. Now, pickup trucks, for those of you not familiar, they're like 2 doors instead of 4 and a front seat. Now, on or about your person means within arm's length. Now, securing a firearm by definition means that it can't be within arm's length, but you also have to secure it so it can't be in the back of the truck. So I know that the person who won the districts carried by these patrons like Venn diagrams. Let me see if I can do this to help out, just for the Nova crowd. This is a circle representing people in the rest of Virginia who own pickup trucks. Now, this is a circle representing the people in the rest of Virginia who own pickup trucks who also own firearms. And I just want to add a circle representing the people in the rest of Virginia who own pickup trucks, firearms, and like to shoot recreationally or hunt, because you were so kind as to put a carve-out in there. That's this. Your Venn diagram is one circle. Now, I understand that this sort of virtue signaling might win you votes in Nova, but for those of us who live in the real world, which I like to call ROVA, this is absolutely, positively not something that can be enforced. We've literally created a criminal class out of millions, not hyperbolic, of Virginians, and defined as an assault weapon a single-shot break-action 410 shotgun or a bolt-action rifle with an integral magazine if the barrel's threaded, which enhances lethality exactly none. This is literally stupid, and while we pardon all kinds of people who are committing crimes and reduce sentences and give judges the discretion to do things like waive off your DUI offense where you might have killed my child had circumstances gone differently, we're creating criminals out of people who want to drive to their next-door neighbor's farm in their pickup truck. Oh, by the way, the Ford F-150, the #1 driven vehicle by self-made millionaires. We're creating a criminal class out of those folks. This makes no sense. There's a time and a place to put on the brakes. I speak ROVA. I tried to translate it for you who speak NOVA. If this bill passes, it will be challenged and it will fail, and it will cost even more taxpayer dollars to try to defend this gook, Mr. Speaker. I would urge a no vote on this bill.
Mr. Speaker, speaking to the bill.
The delegate from Alexandria, calm down. You'll get your chance. Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate McGuire, okay.
Mr. Speaker, speaking to the bill.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hear the gentleman from the other side in the comments that he made. I don't know where I fall in those Venn diagram circles because I own a pickup truck, live in Northern Virginia, and don't own a firearm. I would also point him to line 56, where it points to another code section of exemptions, and this is only the public open carry. I think he might be referring to another bill that we might be discussing later on that is going to actually ban the purchase of weapons. I'd also say that no one came to me during this session and asked me for any carve-outs or amendments or why we had this language from the other side. They never asked me why I was doing this bill. And if they did, they'd know that I was a student on Virginia Tech's campus 19 years ago. And for 19 years, me and my classmates have been wondering why we haven't done more to prevent these types of tragedies. And so when I got here, I made a promise to myself and to my classmates that I would do what I could to prevent something like Virginia Tech from ever happening again in this Commonwealth. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And
Shall the bill pass? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 55, noes 41.
Ayes 55, noes 41. The bill passes.
Over on page 32, we come to Senate Bill 749. Senate Bill 749 is legislation that seeks to amend and reenact various portions of the Code of Virginia relating to the purchase, sale, transfer, etc. of assault firearms and certain ammunition feeding devices. Prohibited penalties. Legislation Support Committee on Public Safety with an amendment nature substitute, and Delegate Helmer has a floor substitute as well.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Helmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move the committee substitute and ask that we vote no on that motion.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no.
No.
Committee substitute is rejected. The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate
Mr. Speaker,
Simon.
I
Delegate
move the floor substitute.
Delegate Helmer.
Mr. Speaker, I move the floor substitute.
Clerk will report the floor substitute.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, floor substitute by Delegate Helmer to Senate Bill 749 is available to the members via IHOD. Electronically, it's available to the public via the Legislative Information System, and therefore that substitute is now before you.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Helmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as a pickup truck driving Northern Virginia Democrat who's a firearm owner and has carried assault weapons in places like Iraq and Afghanistan that some folks who are going to speak about this have never done, who's lost friends to bullets in places including Iraq and Afghanistan, where the first anniversary of the first friend I lost to a bullet is just 2 months from now.
He has not done it. Yeah.
I just think there's a simple truth, which is that our children shouldn't be afraid to go to school. Our streets aren't war zones. And we can take a major step today towards making sure that weapons functionally similar to those weapons I carried overseas, weapons that some other members of this aisle carried overseas, aren't in use in Virginia. Now, the floor substitute in front of you does a few things, and I want to talk through the aspects of it because I think it's important that we know the details. One, it prohibits the sale, the transfer, the import of weapons whose characteristics are similar to those weapons that are being used in war zones. Semi-automatic rifles and pistols designed to get around that, the prohibition, that allow for a sustained, aimed, semi-automatic fire to be placed on members of the public if someone so chooses to do that. The bill establishes a 15-round limit for magazines, and I'd offer that if you trained effectively on a weapon, and you can't hit something with 15 rounds, we might need to send you to retraining. The bill provides some exemptions for law enforcement, for the military, for our defense industrial manufacturing base. It makes sure that if you own a firearm or a magazine today and you take it out of Virginia, that you can bring it back. It ensures that if you want to go to a federally licensed firearm dealer and sell the firearm you currently have or the magazine you currently have, that you can do that. It provides all sorts of mechanisms to allow us to rid our Commonwealth of the scourge of weapons that leave deep wounds, have led to many deaths, and have been used in some of the worst mass shootings in Virginia and America. Mr. Speaker, we have a moment to speak decisively that we think that our communities ought to be safe and that the scourge of gun violence and that the presence of weapons that belong in a war zone not here is something that needs to end today. Mr. Speaker, I hope it's the will of the body to pass the bill.
The delegate from Rockingham, Delegate Wilk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the bill.
The floor, I'm sorry, you didn't move the floor substitute.
Move adoption of the floor substitute.
Shall the floor substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Floor substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Rockingham, Delegate Wilk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the bill.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House. So there's much said. You've heard a lot of the discussions, but I want to cut right down to the bare bones, the actual facts. This bill is in direct violation of the U.S. Supreme Court precedents set in Bruin, Heller, etc. Mr. Speaker, this bill will accomplish nothing but generate millions of dollars in legal bills against the state of Virginia. Another thing that this bill is going to do, Mr. Speaker, is going to create a name of another lawsuit that will be coming, and that lawsuit will join the others that makes it clear that these rifles and pistols are of common use for lawful purposes, and therefore they are protected by the Second Amendment. So I urge the body to vote no on this legislation.
Delegate from Patrick County, Delegate Williams.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, speaking to the bill.
Delegate has the floor.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, that was a great ad for future Congressman Delegate Helmer. But let me tell you guys, you didn't lose friends to bullets. You didn't lose friends to a gun. You didn't lose friends to a knife. You didn't lose friends to a car. Someone drove the car. Someone stabbed the knife. Someone pulled the trigger. You can get rid of every gun for every law-abiding citizen, and all of the criminals will still have theirs. Now, it's good to see that the patron read his bill this time, but it was pretty tough for me to read it since it was a last-minute floor substitute.
I'm going to interrupt again. I want to remind the members of Rule 57. No member will in debate use any language or gesture calculated to wound, offend, or insult another member. You can make your point without that. Thank you.
Fair enough, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it was difficult for me to catch up on this floor substitute, so I hope that a number of the issues that I addressed last time when it came through were addressed in this bill so that individuals in Virginia are still able to have grandfathered firearms, are still able to enjoy their shooting sports, and are still able to hunt in our Commonwealth. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 59, noes 35.
Ayes 59, noes 35. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 756 now before you seeks to amend and reenact multiple sections of the Code of Virginia relating to casino gaming, eligible host localities. Legislation originally reported to the Committee on General Laws with a substitute, and then subsequently reported by the Committee on Appropriations with a different substitute.
Delegate from Henrico, Delegate Willett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move the adoption of the general laws substitute and ask the body to vote no.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no.
No.
The General Laws Committee substitute is rejected. The delegate from Henrico, Delegate Willett.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I now move that the House adopt the appropriation substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The Appropriations Committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Henrico, Delegate Willett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. SB 756, as substituted, adds Fairfax County as an eligible host locality for casino gaming. The appropriation substitute adds 3 guardrails to this bill with the goals of public safety and transparency. Those 3 changes are requiring certain documentation utilized by host localities as part of its consideration of the preferred casino gaming operator to be made publicly available. Second, requires the eligible host locality to select a proposed casino gaming operator that has voluntarily proffered the construction, funding, or dedication of at least one police precinct, headquarters, or a fire and emergency medical services station. And 3, it adds an enactment clause sunsetting the legislation if Fairfax does not hold a successful referendum by July 1st, 2029. Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 64, noes 32.
Ayes 64, noes 32. The bill passes.
Over on page 33, we come to Senate Bill 759. This is legislation to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to unemployment benefits, increase weekly benefit amounts. Legislation originally reported to the Committee on Labor and Commerce and then subsequently by the Committee on Appropriations.
Delegate from Loudoun County, Delegate Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. SB 759 is identical to my HB 1320, which passed the chamber earlier this year. This bill makes it a one-time $48 increase to all weekly unemployment insurance benefits amounts. Mr. Speaker, I renew my motion that the bill pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 64, noes 35.
64, noes 35. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 783 now before you seeks to amend the Code of Virginia relating to law enforcement agencies, agreements with federal authority for immigration enforcement requirements. Legislation Reporting Committee on Public Safety with amendment nature substitute.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Arlington, Delegate Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill ensures that law enforcement resources are focused on violent crime while requiring federal agencies to meet the same judicial standards as every other law enforcement body in Virginia. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hope we pass the bill.
Delegate from Warren County, Delegate Oates.
Speaking to the bill, Mr. Speaker.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just weeks after Governor Spanberger chose to end the Commonwealth's cooperation with federal immigration authorities, a woman is dead, killed by someone who should never have been free to walk our streets. That's not a coincidence. That's a consequence. I've heard my colleagues across the aisle say they don't want ICE making arrests in public places. Well, fine. Then let's do the responsible thing, work with federal authorities to detain and remove violent criminals while they're already in custody. That is safer for our communities, it's safer for law enforcement, and it's far more the responsible approach. If anyone on the other side of the aisle concurs, they should vote no. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Speaking to the bill?
Speaking to the bill, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, this bill explicitly preserves the authority of local and state officials to cooperate with federal authorities when serious crimes are involved. The bill does not prohibit the transfer of individuals convicted of violent felonies to ICE. And also, existing law, which this bill does not repeal, allows for the transfer of those convicted of murder, rape, robbery, burglary, larceny, and abduction. Mr. Speaker, an administrative detainer is a request from a federal bureaucrat. This bill requires a judicial warrant or subpoena, meaning a neutral judge has reviewed the evidence and found probable cause. That's what we should all want. By requiring judicial oversight, we ensure immigration-related arrests follow the Fourth Amendment, preventing the Commonwealth from facing costly litigation over unlawful detentions. Mr. Speaker, local police should not be forcibly deputized to perform federal civil administrative tasks. This bill keeps Virginia tax dollars focused on Virginia crimes. Mr. Speaker, finally, when immigrant communities fear calling 911, that's only going to lead to that because they might think it would lead to a deportation for a civil violation. They stop reporting crimes. This allows violent predators to remain on the streets. Mr. Speaker, the bottom line is this is a pro-rule of law bill. It ensures that when Virginia law enforcement assists federal authorities, they do so with judicial oversight and a focus on keeping violent offenders off our streets. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The delegate. Delegate from Scott County, Delegate Kilgore.
Mr. Speaker, this bill...
Speaking to the bill?
Yes, sorry, Mr. Speaker.
The delegate has the
Speaking to
floor.
bill. I'm sorry. Mr. Speaker, what this bill does in reality is it keeps sheriffs from calling ICE. This is what it does. This is what it's all about. A phone call, not some... This is what the other side and everybody in this room should agree on, that if we have a violent felon, if we have a felon that needs to be out of this country, we should all agree that the best place to pick that person up is in your jails. And that will keep the individuals, as the gentleman from Fairfax said, it would keep them off the street. It would keep them, to keep them within the confines of the jail. So I don't understand I do understand the reason for the bill, but I think it's misplaced. I think federal authorities are going to do what federal authorities are going to do, and you're going to make our communities less safe because local officials, local law enforcement are not participating with these individuals. In Minnesota, once local law enforcement started participating and cooperating with the federal immigration authorities, it got better in Minnesota because everybody bought in. This will not work the way this bill is written. Mr. Speaker, I hope you'll vote no on the bill.
Shall the bill pass? Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 63, noes 34.
Ayes 63, noes 34. The bill passes.
Over on page 34, we come to Senate Bill 18, which is legislation to amend and reenact multiple sections of the Code of Virginia related to children, adjudication of delinquency. Legislation report committee, Courts of Justice with amendments.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee amendments.
Shall the committee amendments be agreed to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Committee amendments are agreed to. Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 18 specifies that a delinquent child meets a child that's 11 years of age or older who's committed a delinquent act. It also provides that a child younger than 11 is found to have committed such an act would be delinquent if committed by a child 11 years or older. The child shall not be proceeded upon delinquent. The court will dismiss the petition alleging that the records pertaining to the petition be expunged. The bill also provides that any funding that is available to provide to services that are 11 years or older be proceeded upon delinquent shall be made available to the child that's 11 years or older. The bill also says that a child may be taken into immediate custody when the child is alleged to be in need of other services or supervision that is clear and substantial danger to the safety of the child's family or the safety of the public. Mr. Speaker, the bill is designed to make sure that we get kids the services that they need. I move that the bill pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 65, noes 34.
Ayes 65, noes 34. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 23 now before you seeks to amend the Code of Virginia relating to plea agreements and court orders, prohibited provisions. Legislation Reporting Committee for Courts of Justice.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 23 prohibits plea agreements and court orders entered after July the 1st of 2026 containing any provision that purports to waive, release, or extinguish a defendant's rights under the Fourth Amendment, the right to file a petition requesting expungement of police records, or the right to have your criminal history record information and court records to be sealed. I move passage of the bill.
Mr. Speaker.
Delegate from Scott County, Delegate Kilgore.
Speak to the bill.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What this bill will do is it's going to create a problem for defendants because now Commonwealth attorneys are not going to want to enter plea agreements. The reason folks and Commonwealth attorneys agree to probation is because they can tighten it up just a little bit, allow waivers of Fourth Amendment rights, meaning that they can go in and take urine tests and search homes and things of that nature and make sure that there's no unlawful activities going. What's going to happen here, though, is Commonwealth attorneys are now going to say, well, I'm not sure that I trust this individual out on the streets, so now I'm going to put this individual in jail. This bill will cost more money. I see this happen every day, Mr. Speaker, as I'm sure you do. We waive in plea agreements, Commonwealth attorneys have you waive Fourth Amendment rights, and the person is going to remain out of jail on probation and be able to work and live with his family. This is going to do exactly the opposite if this bill passed, Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Excuse me. Ayes 64, noes 34, abstentions 1.
Ayes 64, noes 34, abstentions 1. The bill passes.
Next up is Senate Bill 62. Senate Bill 62, top of page 35. The printed calendar following along that way is legislation that seeks to amend the Code of Virginia relating to modification of sentences for marijuana-related offenses. Legislation Report Committee for Courts of Justice with an amendment nature substitute.
The delegate from Prince William, Delegate Henson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senate Bill 62 is now a cognate to my House Bill 26, which passed the House by a vote of 63-34. Again, Senate Bill 62 creates a process by which a person convicted of certain felony offenses involving the possession, manufacturing, selling, distribution, transportation of marijuana, who remains incarcerated on community supervision July 1st, 2026, may receive a hearing. Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 65, noes 34.
Ayes 65, noes 34. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 137 now before you is legislation to amend the Code of Virginia related to obstructing healthcare facility access penalties. Legislation was reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with an amendment nature substitute.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With the committee substitute, Senate Bill 137 carefully follows the guidance of recent Supreme Court decisions in preserving the First Amendment right of individuals who wish to counsel individuals who are going into a facility to obtain reproductive health services, as long as they do not restrict that person's freedom of movement. If they do, the bill provides that they may be ordered to be behind a 25-foot perimeter. And also then, if the behavior escalates to physically obstruct the individual, there are penalties, criminal penalties regarding intentional injury, intimidation, and interferes with. There is also within the bill the provisions for to recover actual damages or $5,000 per violation, whichever is greater, as well as class actions. I hope it will be the pleasure of the body to pass the bill.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 64, noes 35.
Ayes 64, noes 35. The bill passes.
Over on page 36, we come to Senate Bill 230, which is legislation that seeks to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia as well as portions of the Acts of Assembly of 2023 and 2025, all relating to expungement of police and court records. Report. Legislation was reported to Committee for Courts of Justice with an amendment nature substitute.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. The delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 230 permits the expungement of police and court records related to initial charge when a person is charged on the commission of an infraction or crime or civil offense, is not ultimately convicted, provided that stipulation of those facts sufficient to find the guilt was entered to the court, not to determine the facts sufficient to find the guilt. The bill also permits that a petition may request expungement of the police and court records for multiple charges if such charges arose out of a separate transaction. Substitute adopted by the House courts closely matches the report that came out of the Senate court and removes the work group out of Senate Finance. I move passage of the bill.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 84, noes 15.
Ayes 84, noes 15. The bill passes.
Next up is Senate Bill 283, legislation to amend and reenact two sections of the Code of Virginia relating to penalties for failure to appear contempt. Legislation report committee for Courts of Justice.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senate Bill 283 on page 36.
Can that go for Delegate Simon from Fairfax was going to do that one.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, speaking of the bill.
The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon. Stop playing those video games on your phone. Pay attention. We saw you. We saw you. Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon.
Just consumed with the group chat, Mr. Speaker. Anyhow, this bill is identical to my House bill on failures to appear, which we actually accepted the Senate amendments to and passed last week. It's pared down from what it originally was introduced to do, and now just really defines what a willful failure to appear is, and make sure that you can't be convicted of felony failure to appear for if there's a lack of a willfulness component. Hope it's the pleasure of the body to pass the bill as it is presented.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 64, noes 35.
Ayes 64, noes 35. The bill passes.
Continuing with the calendar, we come next to page 37, And we now, bill before you next is Senate Bill 342, SB 342, as legislation seeks to amend the Code of Virginia related to condemnation of conservation or open space easements, compensation. Legislation reported to the Committee of Courts of Justice with an amendment.
From Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee amendments.
Shall the committee amendments be agreed to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The committee amendments are agreed to. The delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 342 provides that if a person takes by condemnation or any land subject to a conservation easement or open space easement, such person shall compensate the Commonwealth and the locality in which that land is located for certain tax credits and values enumerated in the bill. The bill specifies that any such compensation paid to the Commonwealth shall be in addition to compensation required under other provisions of the law. I move passage of the bill.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 65, noes 34.
Ayes 65, noes 34. The bill passes.
Now we come to Senate Bill 540, legislation that seeks to amend the Code of Virginia relating to undue influence, presumption and actions contesting validity of certain documents or instruments. Legislation reported to the Courts of Justice with an amendment nature substitute.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. The delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 540, as amended, the bill provides that an action to contesting the validity of a trust or trust instrument where the presumption of undue influence arises, the fact finder shall presume that undue influence was exerted over the defendant unless evidence leads the fact finder to determine that the decedent did not intend for real or personal property to be conveyed or transferred as indicated. Current law provides that this presumption of undue influence only actions contested in the validity of the will. I move passage of the bill.
Shall the bill pass?
Yep.
Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 67, noes 30.
Ayes 67, noes 30. The bill passes.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, so we took some were moved and some were temporary, and several of those bills are bills impacted by today's deadline. So now going back to page 2, picking up, we have 5 bills to sort through here. So we're still in the category of third regular, but now Senate Bill 129 is before it would direct the Virginia Lottery and the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services to assess the regulation and taxation of fantasy contests in the Commonwealth. Report. Legislation originally reported by the Committee on General Laws with the substitute, then subsequently by the Appropriations.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Creasy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the general law substitute.
Shall the substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill seeks to close a loophole in existing fantasy sports contests in the code, clarifies what the definition is, and ensures fairness in the gaming marketplace. It's now the cognate to my House Bill 145, which passed this body overwhelmingly by a vote of 89 to 8. I hope it's the will of the body to pass this legislation. I move the bill.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 91, noes 7.
Ayes 91, noes 7. The bill passes.
Going over to page 7, printed calendar falling that way. Now before you is Senate Bill 180. SB 180 seeks to amend and reenact 4 sections of the Code of Virginia relating to fines and costs, period of limitations on collection. Legislation Report Committee on Committee 4, Courts of Justice.
Delegate from Norfolk, Delegate Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is very similar to my HB 268, which passed the House 91 to 8, seeking to make reforms to the collection of court fines and fees that set people up for success rather than failure. The bill shortens the statute of limitations that applies to the collection from up to 60 years down to 10 years. It doubles the grace period from 90 days to 180 days, and in cases where a defendant is incarcerated, this bill clarifies that the grace period runs from the date the defendant is released. I move the bill pass.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 89, noes 9.
Oh, ayes 89, noes 9. The bill passes.
Continuing with the calendar, we come to page 13 and Senate Bill 725. That is legislation that seeks to amend and reenact section of the Code of Virginia relating to circuit court clerks, fees, technology trust fund fee report. Legislation for Committee of Courts of Justice, Amendment Nature substitute.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Mr. Speaker, this bill increases the technology trust fund fee from $5 to $8. The substitute that we just adopted incorporates Delegate Simon's House Bill 448 related to land records, certain financing statements, recording and indexing fees for land records. I move passage of the bill.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 87, noes 12.
Ayes 87, noes 12. The bill passes.
Great. Now we go to page 18 of the calendar, one of the bills that went by earlier temporarily. Now we come back to it. It is Senate Bill 164, Delegate